Alright, to report to the extraterrestrial life, and what Jason should tell extraterrestrial life, the probability and likeliness is the dependent obviously plenty of things. And one of the things is the human inability obviously to say anything, confirm any theory of the reality of the human perception, inability obviously huge distance between the space, the universe and galaxies, and the star systems, the very remote location. And because all the life form is depending on the abuse, the abilities of the life form, it's an integrance, harnesses, all the life form, it's the life is the chemical energy of the and the physics, which are very dependent of its location, a favorable condition. The life need to it condition to be alive. Any kind of the life needed care about the temperature ranges, care about the gravity, care about the pressure, and care about the physics to be a part in a light condition to be in a life. And in any place in the universe where there's no energy be regained, it's impossible for life therefore to exist. And life need to be exist at all the condition. The gravitation itself is obviously one of the things to keep in the base, but the basic forces, so that it doesn't necessarily need to be gravitation, but the life to exist and reproduce and flourish. So, but the gravity itself plays plenty of the over importance. Almost any of the species would have been and is therefore to be existed from a gravity itself. But there are different forces. Obviously, the life is using all the quantum and molecular, all the forces of the underlying forces, of the basic forces, heavy weak forces of the molecules. And without these forces however doesn't depend on the geolocation that much, so that doesn't matter the location in the universe of its life form. Then in the case of temperatures, this is the most important thing about the energy and temperatures the life form exists. Alongside with of course the material, the basic elements which it need to be also have some kind of the energy to the condition where the more energy is created for the life, because the life itself cannot harness for more energy than it consumes, and it therefore cannot create energy without the chemistry of the nature of this. So the example of some planets completely isolated from the rest of the universe, and no matter how advanced or developed this life form is, there is a point that the life form cannot sustain it itself without the extended tension. So this means that any of the closest environments or closest circles where no more energy is to transfer it anywhere, any popular situation of transfer more energy to the one condition over in water, the life form will be seized in some point of the device if there will be any time the light to be exist already. And this will be meaning that in the universe itself, any location which has no closer to some radionuclei or some star systems or any kind of the chemical processes which generate heat, the life cannot be exist except for form. Life, there is one particular metabolism life, and C is like a death life. And C is the abilities to create a life, but it's not existing as a life. And this is one of the important things is alive. The life form can be example in stabilized and freezing condition, and therefore it's not alive in this kind of form. And therefore to understand the word itself alive, meaning any kind of the entities or biological entities which have biological processes. Without biological energy processes, any entities are not alive if there is no entity of the metabolized. This is, for example, a human or to cover death if the humans are, example, the heavily separated or damaged or somehow to cause the death. And therefore, all the human brain process have stopped the metabolism, and all the human function as a life unit have to cease to act and to be involved. And therefore, the patient the same goes like to the cells. And example, one of the things is example the freeze. And one of those, if the life is ended, but there is no happening in the process of this, And usually in the alive processes is the page that the completely cease to be exist alive, and the different kind of the living organisms have a different ability to sustain to able to regain the condition previously if they come to some condition would be therefore alter the process of the life. There's example if the human will be freezed in immediately like the cruel technique, example in the nitrogen, liquid form of nitrogen. And therefore this the human will be not perhaps said to be dead because human can be revived to be alive, but the human all the living process will be completely halt, and it is stopping of all the metabolites will be having of use a different word than a dead itself, because human itself can revive it, the same entity what it be, but it's not alive characterly because there is no life going on, there is no life biology moving on to the metabolism, and therefore human cannot nature to think or any kind of the function, groove, metabolism, this kind of condition when whole the biological entity is restricted and dependent on the condition of the nature and environment. And this is one of the important theory of the knowledge that the developments of the other life for to exist, they need to the basic energy of the universe. Alright, the question is what is the life ultimate purpose in existence, guys? Over time in the universe creation allowing to different kind of the materials, different kind of the elements from the underlying particles, and it just creates of this life was one of the form what had the ability to get creation, ability to get it to be exist, and therefore there's nothing exists in the universe what didn't have an ability to get become to exist in the form. And therefore, except by human mind to thought, where human exists to thought and thinking about all the things that existing, all the things that are not existing in a body first, human basically doesn't have an idea, but that's the point because the universe itself didn't allow them to be exist the forward change, and therefore, and the life itself is objects to the supported by the universe and the physics laws. And therefore the question is how the life form itself will be formed or able itself to fight against the nature of the physics itself, the feature of the laws. And therefore is it impossible the life itself to winning or cover and able example a human say to be spirit, human mind, human and exist out of the metaphysical contest, metaphysical of the material, metaphysical of the energy of these ideas. And therefore all the universe itself is things in the physical laws are only working when there is an existence of these physical elements. And therefore in the universe over a time when the universe will be changed, the physical life will be changed, is how the life form will be changed in itself is. And how the life form could survive without anything to exist at all. And so can the life form be a part, is it a part one of the few of the material itself, that the biology is a derived of physics. The physics and chemistry will allow it to exist, or can the life forever be exist any other form without these things to be exist? And this is a character theory of the in the sense of what is the direction of the life in the ever expanding and changing universe. Well, the energy level of the overall will be all the time go towards the direction of the entropy increasing. And therefore, the life form, how the life form can sustain itself in the hostile environmental or the change, can the life form adapt anyway, or can the life form as any way to interpret the change the direction the universe is moving, can the life form how to affect to the physics itself, can any life form become abilities to the itself to create more new physics or create the change in the physics to create the direction of the fate of the universe or the create of the future. And this kind of situation is how much the power to catch it. Obviously life got to a point where it comes to self-awareness like a human beings is